It's called Transformers, and they barely transform into anything in front of our eyes. Like, it just, what are we doing here? I don't want a serious Transformers movie. I want them to just completely annihilate each other and have fun watching it. Hey everyone, welcome back to Candid Cinema. I'm Amanda, otherwise known as AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Today I will be reviewing Transformers: Rise of the Beast. Now, when I was growing up, the first Transformers movie was everything. I even bought a little Camaro. You can't see it, but it is behind me. I have always been a huge fan of Bumblebee. B was my boy. I've wanted a Camaro since like the first time I saw him, and I love the first Transformers. Surprisingly, even Revenge of the Fallen is really good in my opinion. I haven't watched them in a very long time. Maybe they don't hold up. Whatever you want to say about Michael Bay, I obviously disagree with a lot of things that he has done. But the one thing that many of us can agree on is that even though his style is very messy and chaotic action set pieces, they were damn fun. He knew what to do with the Autobots. He knew what to do with the Decepticons. He knew what to do with these robots. Okay? And they made it look cool. The whole team that worked on the first two Transformers, they made it look cool. The script, obviously, you have the government involved, you have the army and all of that stuff, but at the same time, it was never boring. Very minimal human stuff. That's the issue with a lot of these films that have these monsters, and I often talk about it with Elliot over on Movie Files Live. The less time we spend with the human storyline, the better and more enjoyable it will be for everyone. So I've had a love-hate relationship with the Transformers franchise. I think I stopped after Dark of the Moon. At the time, I really did watch it just for Shia LaBeouf. I was a massive fan of his growing up. And after I watched Dark of the Moon, which I almost fell asleep during, I did, okay, I called it quits. Then I wanted to watch Bumblebee. And Bumblebee was like the saving grace of this franchise. Bumblebee has always been one of my favorite characters, my favorite Autobot. And Haley Steinfeld was absolutely fantastic in that movie. So if you haven't watched Bumblebee, make sure to get your tissues ready because it is a tearjerker. I cry at everything, as I said, but Bumblebee is just something really special. So I enjoyed that. And now moving into Transformers: Rise of the Beasts, I didn't know what to expect, but having seen, the rest of Stephen Cable Jr.'s work, especially Creed 2, I was excited to see what he could do with this. Obviously, it's a very different film, and he doesn't have actual people fighting, so that changes things. But I don't think the issues lie in the direction. I thought some of the fight scenes were, they were well executed, not the third act whatsoever, but the little fight scenes, character introductions, we have new Autobots that are coming out, all that stuff was fine. It lies in the script and in the pacing, because this movie, I think, is a 2 hours and like 16 minutes. It felt like it was 3. And I don't know if I was like super tired when I watched it, but I was like yawning in the second half. And it was boring. It's just an exposition dump of, who the animal Autobots are essentially and what they have to protect. It's like this ancient artifact that can send all the Autobots home. So the ones, I believe they're called Terracons, those big guns are trying to like destroy Earth. Meanwhile, Optimus is like, we have to return home. And it's like, no, dude, you've been on Earth for an eternity. Since I was a freaking baby in the 90s, you were always on Earth. You're not going anywhere. We know you're not going anywhere. So that kind of storyline just, it's a turnoff. They're going to stay. They're going to win. Like, it just didn't do anything for me whatsoever. I personally think that having the human storyline did nothing to ground this. Like, again, what is the purpose of having like an older brother, little brother bond? Like, I get that you're trying to build that and have Noah into this like hero played by Anthony Ramos, he's great. He really is. But it just didn't do anything at all. Like, it was just, okay, sure, we have to write something for them to do and to have emotional attachment to these characters, but it fell short for me. With Dominique Fishback, literally her character was just to find the artifact. That was it. And she knew where to go to find the other piece and connect it. I just think that they had zero purpose other than to serve the Autobots, and it just felt longer than it should have. There could have been scenes cut out of this. There was way too much talking. And then when you see the robots on screen, you see these cars on screen, they're talking. There's no action majority of the time. And it's like, I want to see them fight. I want to see them do flips and shoot their blasters and transform. Like the whole movie, it's called Transformers. And they barely transform into anything in front of our eyes. Like, it just, what are we doing here? I don't want a serious Transformers movie. I want them to just completely annihilate each other and have fun watching it. But the third act was also like really generic and didn't add anything new. Again, this isn't a, I don't want to say it's Stephen Cable Jr. who wasn't like inventive and trying to change certain aspects and have his own style, but the script is just, it's so repetitive. And there are small things, I don't want to do spoilers, but like there are things that I didn't expect them to do, especially at the very, very end. I was like, you're really gonna go there? We're going there. I get what you're trying to do, but you're really grasping at straws here that unfortunately you have an audience that doesn't really care now, especially if you're trying to like breathe new life into the Transformers franchise. I think it's a bit too late, and there have been way too many that have fumbled already. Hopefully it works for them because it was a big swing at the end of this. I was trying to understand why it also low-key became a Power Rangers movie. If you know, you know. I didn't understand that at all, and I didn't know they were capable of doing said thing. I think for me, the saving grace of this movie was really Pete Davidson as Mirage. I didn't know he was in it at all, and when I listened to Mirage, I was like, this voice sounds bloody familiar. Who is this person? I'm trying to place him, and Davidson's voice acting was great. And it's the fact that like he has such a distinct voice, Pete Davidson, but at the same time it didn't sound like him, so you're just very confused as to who this was. But Mirage kicked major butt. I loved his character introduction. He was absolutely hilarious, kept it going, rolled with the punches. The one-liners were god tier and really saved this movie. He had great banter with Noah, which was awesome. But my one peeve is that someone who has loved Bumblebee for as long as I have, my boy was sidelined. And I know that it's because they had to put Mirage in, because Mirage feels like a very modernized version of Bumblebee, which is very unfortunate that you can't have both of them at the same time, because the lines would kind of overlap and be the same. They roughly have the same energy. And I could see how, you know, Bumblebee would tap into the radio to say certain one-liners, which he is known for, but Mirage just comes up with them on the spot. He doesn't have to work through a radio. So it's more original, but I do think that they could have had Bumblebee play off of Mirage, but Mirage was obviously playing off of Noah in that case. All in all, Transformers Rise of the Beasts relies too much on the nostalgia. I know 90s kids are probably beaming and very happy with it. Don't get me wrong. I'm a 90s kid and I was, you know, laughing at certain lines that Optimus Prime would say. And I'm tired of his stuff. I think that's the ultimate thing, is the fact that we've seen this all before. There's really nothing new that you can add to the Transformers franchise. That's why when they brought in like the animal robots, like that was pretty cool. That stuff was interesting. Again, you didn't really do much with the fight sequences that were different between the fighting styles. I think from the Autobots to the Terracons to the animals as well to the beasts. I think that there should have been a more distinct fighting pattern so they know, you know, the difference between the three, or else it just felt like one big blob that was happening all at once, and I was tired by the end of it. This movie was exhausting to sit through, unfortunately, but shout out to Pete Davidson, who absolutely killed it. I'm gonna give Transformers Rise of the Beasts a 2 out of 5. I know it breaks my heart. I really wish that I enjoyed this more. Again, Anthony Ramos and Dominic Fishback are not the issue here. The script was just severely lacking. The pacing, the editing was really messy, and it just did not need to be as long as it did. It overstayed its welcome. big time. It did. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments below which Transformers movie is your favorite, which Autobot is your favorite. Let me know in the comments below. And you guys can always follow me over at AMX NDA Reviews on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. If you guys want to help me grow this wonderful channel, you can find out ways to do that in the bio below. I'll catch you guys next time. Keep watching movies.